The universe is loud in a very quiet way. Are you listening? Welcome to the Cosmic Whispers podcast, where we delve into the realms of spirituality, personal growth, and the cosmic dance between the third and fifth dimensions. In a world filled with noise and distractions, we invite you to tune in to your own cosmic whispers, where we can awaken our inner wisdom and embark on unveiling the authentic self and cosmic connection. Welcome to episode 10 with occult spiritualist Joen. Joen uses ritual magic in her daily practice to reach a state of self-actualization through transformational healing. She's also the founder of the Botanical Alkemist, where she shares her wisdom and teachings through workshops, daily insights, and her personal crafts. Welcome, Joen, to the podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Before we start, I like to pull a card just to get the energy of today's show.
Sure.
Oh, that one just fell out. Ooh. All right, the card we got is Lighten Up, which is in the last quarter moon Leo, which is really interesting because we are going to be talking about shadow work. So I guess we got to lighten up the shadow work.
I totally agree with you because this is so in sync about the topics that we're going to discuss today. And I really feel now that's the time to indeed lighten up the things that are in the hidden subconscious mind.
Absolutely. Before we start, would you like to share a bit about your background and your spiritual awakenings?
Sure. Just a little bit information about myself. I am a occult spiritualist and I use ritual magic to reach a state of self-actualization through transformative healing. And therefore, I'm also the owner of the Botanical Alchemist, which is a place where I share my wisdom. And it's also linked to my shop, where I sell my handcrafted spiritual items, such as conjure, intention oils, candles, and many more. About my spiritual awakenings throughout my life, I actually have a bunch of them. I have several spiritual awakenings throughout my life. And I will share one of my most profound ones. That was actually after my Saturn return. I had a really tough Saturn return. I lost my dad and my grandma in that Saturn return. And it flipped my life like 360 degrees after that because it brought a lot of maturity in my life. So I embarked on a journey of plant medicine. That was in 2019. In the beginning of 2019, I started to do 3 years, consecutive years of plant medicine healing. And I used like ayahuasca, shrooms, and a mix of a DD plant called Mimosa hostilis mixed with psilocybin, and that is actually called psiloflora, which is essentially a mix between ayahuasca and psilocybin shrooms.
Oh, I've never heard of that. Sounds amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing because this is like a not a common way, I think, to take psychedelics because usually you would just do ayahuasca or you just do like hachuma, which is like the masculine plant, right? So this is like a more I don't know. It maybe it's like a Dutch variant to this, because I did all this in Amsterdam, and it's what's quite heavy too. Because I think this is like the most heaviest plant medicine ceremony that I got in my life. It's also my last one, so it was really profound. It was really profound, and it worked differently on my spirit. So coming back to my inner work, so I went on a 3 years journey. And every 2 to 3 months, I will be doing these ceremonies and integrate all these lessons in between. So during these ceremonies, I had many ego deaths. And I realized that my spirit was a male spirit, and I incarnated every time as a female. And then I was shown like a timeline that I incarnated from the beginning of humanity in a human form. But I was also like told and I saw visions of myself as a cosmic being. And that was really profound to me and coming to know that I'm actually a true starseed. And because of this, I started to look at myself as a multi-dimensional being. So with this infinite wisdom, I started cultivate my spirituality at God's speed. And that was actually also the time that I started to deep dive into magic, sorcery, and retrieving past life memories and powers. Because in the past, when I was young, I studied Chinese metaphysics, including the I Ching, the Chinese astrology, Feng Shui, and other divination tools. And at this point, I kind of integrating and fusing all these different systems into one magical modality system that I work with in magic. So yeah, that was my little bit journey.
Wow, you're a powerful witch.
Powerful witch. Well, the thing is, I do not consider myself as a powerful witch at all. I think I'm just doing my own thing, like doing my shadow work. And I do believe that the power does lie within your darkest side. That's how I started to do magic, how I connected with spirituality from the darkest night of soul. So if you're able to transmute that in yourself, that makes you a powerful human being. And with that knowledge, wisdom, you can indeed become like a powerful witch. That's what you call it.
That's really interesting. I'm so glad we connected at this time because I just recently learned about shadow work the past 4 years since I've been through another dark night of the soul. So I feel like I can learn a lot from you. In terms of ancestral shadow work, what exactly is ancestral shadow work and how does that differ from other forms of shadow work?
In my opinion, ancestral shadow work is based on a union with your ancestors, your relationship with them, and how you cultivate that relationship with them. It's kind of similar to ancestor veneration. And when you do this, you can actually access your ancestral records and your powers and the gifts that you have inherited from them. So you are able to heal things from the root. So you're able to be really detached and have a bird's eye view from events that happened in the past, right? And I think it's important to be detached and see things from a bird's eye perspective because you're acting like a mediator between you and your ancestors. You're also like acting like an FBI agent. And the ancestral records will show you what actually happened in the dynamics and the power plays that are within their history. So you're not like emotionally too involved because your goal is actually to find out what happened. And that is how the patterns, the generational curses pass down to the descendants, right? What I think the most different between the ancestral work and the inner healing work is that with inner healing, you are in a journey to your own wounds, right? It's coming from your own perspective. And with ancestral work, shadow work, is more like having a bird's view from what happened exactly with your ancestors, what were the power dynamics. So you have like more a broader view and with a more detached view upon things.
And how do you practice detachment though? Because it's such a personal journey. How do you separate yourself in order to continue with the inner healing that way?
I simply look at things from a very objective point of view when I do ancestral healing. What I do is I just commune with them through tarot. I channel what exactly happened because when I start to do this work, I will see myself as a mediator between like the living and the dead, right? And then I just look at patterns and what things that I need to be solving and seeing like it's like a puzzle. I would like to describe it as a puzzle, finding the pieces that fit in the puzzle and that it really helps me to be detached and really be like a judge, right? Like a judge judging whatever that's going on in the family history.
I like that analogy of being like this FBI agent trying to figure out a puzzle. I think just trying to get yourself in that mindset is a practice in itself, but I can see how it can be done.
Yes, exactly.
And so, what are some common signs or symptoms in a person's life that may indicate a need for ancestral shadow work?
To be all the way honest, I think that every human on this planet has a generational patterns to resolve. Because this the only reason why you incarnate, right? It's to balance the depths in your bloodline. The reason why you want to work with your ancestral records is that you are able to repair the bloodline at God's speed. Because you're dealing with the unconscious patterns, your ancestor act as a guide into shedding lights to that unconscious part of yourself that therefore is hard to access. And if you're talking about symptoms, the way I look at this is, for example, look at your relationship between your mom and dad. How did their relationship influence you when you were a child? Did they had a great relationship or did they not have a much great relationship? If they do not have like a good relationship, it usually stems from their relationship from their mom and dad, right? It's like passed down a pattern. And so there's already a pattern there. And it's sad to say, but the divorce rate this day and age is really high. So it also translates that the collective is dealing with this imbalanced energy, right? The imbalance between the masculine and feminine, and that reflects back to your relationship with your mom and dad. So I think that most people really need to solve their wounds with their parents. And what I also notice is that people that are truly healed, from these wounds, they become like a teacher of some kind, like a teacher, a healer. Like recently, I met some women that were sexually abused when they were little, right? When they was a child. And these women, I have so much respect for them. They're able to overcome, not only to overcome these wounds, but they're able to forgive like their molesters, what they've done to them. And they eventually become like master teacher of healing for women and how they can overcome these wounds of the soul. I say it, the wounds of the soul. So they become master teachers, and that's really what I admire about these people.
That's a huge step to be able to release that from your body and from your psyche. It's like the ultimate freedom is the forgiveness too, because that's ultimately to help yourself in a sense. Also, going back to your comments about healing wounds from childhood, I mean, that's so true. Like everyone has baggage, no matter what. If you're not doing the inner work to heal, it's going to reflect into your relationships. And then, which, I can see how the divorce rate is so high. Actually, I was divorced in my early 30s. We were only married for 2 years. And the main reason was because he wasn't willing to do the inner work. And so I didn't see us being able to grow together.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that because in one of my revelations was also came forward that I need to be with someone that does do the inner work because it's about balancing energies, right? Especially now the South Node is in Libra. So you want to be with someone that's equally yoked with you and also that is of an equal frequency with you. If for example, when two persons and one person's always a step ahead, whatever it is, you will always feel like you have to be do more effort. And if you're not able to want to do that effort, it's not gonna be like a balanced act. It's not gonna be a balanced relationship. So I totally feel you about that.
Right now, like after all my experiences with relationships, I personally cannot date someone that's not willing to do the inner work because we're all going to have stuff to work on no matter what. No one's perfect. And the whole point is to find that energetic alignment and resonance and grow together in the same direction instead of different directions. And I think this applies to everything in life, friendships, whatever relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to be like in the same frequency and vibration of that of your opposite partner and also in definitely in relationships. I can definitely agree with that.
So, what techniques or practices are effective for beginning the process of ancestral shadow work?
We gotta break it down, for example, with astrology. There are like seasons when a zodiac sign is ruling, right? There's a reason why every time period is ruled by a different zodiac sign. So, for example, Scorpio season is when Halloween is, and Scorpio rules the dead, the ancestors, inherited karma, gifts, and necromancy. My advice would be like during Scorpio season, you work with your ancestors because during Scorpio season, you're supposed to do healing work with your ancestors because the veils are so thin, it's easier to communicate with them. So at that point, the whole collective is basically in the underworld. And with underworld, I mean the subconscious mind and dealing with emotional wounds. So this is the perfect time to start connecting with your ancestors. And you can actually start very simple, just talk to them. And if you feel uncomfortable, you can write letters. And you can say to dedicate this letter, for example, you write a letter and you say, oh, I'll dedicate this letter to my ancestors. And you ask for signs and clarity, and they will definitely show up to you. They will definitely give you some signs or clarity or whatever it is. When you reach out to them, they will definitely answer your call because as long you do not reach out to them, they do not have like the permission from you or the consent from you to really mingle in your life. So you need to like be the first one to initiate that contact. And if you are already advanced and you have been working with spirits already, then it's more easy to connect. You can then build an ancestor altar, for example. I highly recommend this because I do that. I the first thing that I do is actually communicating and building this altar because it's good to have a long life of a long committed relationship with them so they can help you in your spiritual path. And you can actually cultivate your relationship with them slowly with an altar and venerate them on like specific days, like a day, like in China, we have like the tomb sweeping days, right? When we honor our ancestors. And then you have in November, the first week of November, you have like the Los Santos Muertes. which which is a time to connect with the underworld, to connect with the dead, and venerate the dead. It's just like spirit work, right? Your ancestors are like spirits; they do not have a body, so treat them like they are with you right here, like how you treat other people, like your family, your friends, and treat them like they're still here. And that's the key. If it comes from your heart, they will able to help you. You will able to connect with them.
Yeah, I love that. It's interesting how the last podcast that I recorded, we ended up on the topic of death, and there's so much fear around it. But I've learned to change my perspective on it. And I do like how other cultures do celebrate death and celebrate your ancestors. And because it's a part of life, so I think removing the fear around it and just accepting it and celebrating it is such a nice way to go about it. I also like how you recommended to just write letters, to talk, because at least personally for me, I forget to ask a lot. And I know that my ancestors are always around. They're just waiting for that door to open to be like, "Hey, I'm here, I'm here to help."
Oh, that's amazing to hear. Yes, yes. Especially when you know they're kind of reaching out to you. That's like a nudge, right? Like from, we're waiting here. Please give me your permission so we can like be in your life. And that's the thing with spirituality, working with spirits.
Exactly.
They do not reach out to you until you gonna give your consent and your permission, because we do have free will in this reality. So you have to be the one that's gonna initiate.
Absolutely. And I think it's also good when doing any kind of energy or spiritual work to put a protective bubble regardless, because I know that some entities can be a little bit sneaky, but at the same time, it's good to practice opening that portal.
Yes, certainly. I would certainly recommend to really practice banishing first, banishing and protection rituals. That's the first thing that I learned when I was delving in magic. Like the first thing that I learned was banishing and release and protection, because that is so like underrated, especially when you're gonna connect with your ancestors. Like you said, they are lower entities in this realm. They can be imposter trickster spirits around, especially if you're like a baby witch and it's the first time you're reaching out to
Baby witch, that's cute.
yeah, and it's the first time you're reaching out to a entity. I mean, an ancestor is still an entity. It's still a spirit. You want to make sure that you really connect with your truest ancestor and not with an imposter spirit. So you're correct about doing these protection circles or with salt. You can look it up in the internet. Practice your protection first and banishing. For example, if you're really connecting with an imposter spirit, you really want to banish that spirit first. So you have to practice your banishing and protection rituals first.
And I think a lot of people don't know about that. And it's so important when you start because once you practice that, you actually become more powerful and more confident and more protected to the point where it's just second nature now. And then you're just always protected. I've had entities sneak in. Some were not really harmful, but annoying. And that can be a little bit jarring sometimes and a little bit scary if you're not expecting it.
Yeah, that could be really annoying indeed, because most of these spirits are really like trying to get your attention. That's what they do, unless someone really did some witchcraft on you and sending like an intrinsical spirit around you. But the difference will be noticeable. You will get sick, you will get illness, you will get bad luck. So these are more like curses. But most spirits are like, yeah, they just want to grab your attention and just want to play with you. I agree with you that the protection and banishing things are really underrated, and it's not maybe not the first thing that you get to practice, right? Because a lot of these practices are focused on manifestation rituals, how to get more money, how to get love, how to get a car. But the most important thing in magic is to do first your protection and banishing spell. I can briefly touch upon this as well. Maybe I can share some rituals that I do so the viewers out there can practice this at home.
Yes, please. I'd love to hear them.
Okay, so what I do usually is I start banishing first. It's very simple. Just go to the store and buy Dragon's Blood, the sage version. It's like the big red Dragon Blood sage, the bundle. So you're gonna light it on and start smudging, fumigating your entire house. Your entire house, leave your windows and stuff and open. And then you chant, okay? You can use your own power. For example, call up the four directions is something that I do not do, but a lot of witches do. For example, you do not have that affinity or that background. You can just tell like, this is my home, and with my power, I am banishing all unwanted negative entities and energies out of my home. And you're going to repeat this. You're going to chant this and you're going to walk around your home and fumigating all the areas. Okay. You're going to fumigate it all, leave your windows open. And after that, you're going to take 4 lemons and you're going to cut them in 4 parts. And then you want to put some salt in it on top of it. And you're going to place it in every corner of your home because the lemons and the salt is going to absorb all the negative energy. So you're going to leave it like for 3 to 5 days and you see if it turns black. If it turns black, it means a lot of negative energies and entities are absorbed in the lemon. Then you're going to dispose this in the bin.
I gotta try that.
You have to try that too. Yeah, definitely. And what you can do on top of it is like getting a black candle. Okay, a black candle can be any candle, doesn't really matter. You put some coconut oil on it and cayenne pepper because coconut oil is really good at banishing energies, and cayenne pepper is going to add that spice on it, right? That spice. And then you're going to lit that candle until it's completely burned down, and that should be able like clarify and clean the space. And if you really want to be thorough, you can do another cleansing bath. I do this like weekly. I can recommend anyone to do a spiritual bath, cleansing bath at least once a month because you're going to places, you attract certain energies into your home and you do not want that. So what you're going to do is you're going to boil lemons, lemongrass, agrimony, hyssop, rue. You're going to boil it in a big simmer pot and pour it into your bathtub. If you do not have a bathtub, you can pour it in like a big, what's it called?
Like a jug or a pitcher.
Yeah, exactly. Something that you can like throw it in your body with the water. So you're gonna infuse the herbs with regular water. You're gonna bath at it, and just gonna like chant like, with this bath I'm gonna remove all the negative and unwanted energies around myself. I'm gonna strengthen my protection shield around me, and you just meditate, kind of meditate and visualize a white light surrounding you. And then after the bath you're gonna air dry, or you're gonna dry it with just your towel. That will be just fine, and afterwards you should be feeling clear in your mental mind and also having clear dreams. These are the two signs that is like you're really cleansed, your aura is cleansed, and your mental mind is cleansed, because lemons are really powerful. They absorb the negative energies in your body, in your aura, and also in your home. Plus they're really like, it's easy for you to get them.
I love these tips. I'm excited to try them.
Yeah, it sounds simple. It sounds maybe a little bit like wacky tacky, but it really helps. It really helps.
I love wacky tacky.
Yeah. Yeah, the most simple things are actually the most stronger and powerful things that you can use. People overlook lemons a lot, but lemons are so powerful. They absorb negative energies in your home and including your aura. It's really good to use them every week. I would recommend psychic people, witches, priestesses, people that are dabbing into the spiritual realm quite commonly, maybe daily, to do this spiritual cleansing bath every single week. Because otherwise, you're gonna be so drained and you're gonna have this gunk in your spiritual body, and you do not want that.
I feel like I have a lot of energetic gunk, especially since I've been developing my superpowers the past few years. And I just recently learned that I'm a transmuter, which means there's more gunk. So I think I need to add all of these practices into my spiritual lifestyle.
And I think it's gonna empower you a lot. Like removing all the gunk, it's gonna bring a lot of clarity in your life and how to transmute these powers, like you said.
Right now, I'm in nature and I already feel an energetic difference in terms of how much energy I have waking up just by being in nature. I think it's just like cleansing out all the gunk that I get from the city and picking up all the energy from all the city people that I'm walking by. I feel like adding these lemons and these practices are going to improve it even more. So thank you for that.
You're very welcome. I am happy to share these easy do it yourself spiritual practices with you and, of course, with other viewers so they can incorporate that into their own life.
Have you ever felt like you need a little grounding when the full moon hits? Perhaps you want to open your third eye a bit before meditation, get your creative juices flowing for a project, or balance some womb healing? Cosmic Mama ceremonial herbal teas for the chakras can help. Our 100% organic, sustainably sourced, and caffeine-free blends are meticulously handcrafted in small batches. Whether you're looking for an herbal infusion to complement an intentional moment or ceremony, or you just want to enjoy a soothing and delicious brew, Cosmic Mama is here for you. You can support our podcast and enjoy 15% off with code WHISPERS15 on cosmicmama.co. Indulge in the magic of Cosmic Mama ceremonial herbal teas and let their harmonizing essence guide you on your path of connection and well-being. What are your superpowers? Like, are you clairvoyant, clairaudient? And did this develop over time, or were you born on the other side of the veil?
I think I am clairvoyant, clairaudient, and clairsentient. I use a lot of my senses when I am in a room. I can feel it, I can see some things, and most likely I can hear things as well. I think I get these gifts when I was a kid. When I was really like a kid, I already had these gifts. I would see shadow people around me. But at some point, my gifts were kind of blocked. I feel that it was blocked for majority of my lifetime due some reasons. And I started to develop these gifts again by having my ayahuasca journey, my plants ceremonies during the 3 years that I was doing them. So, what is profound about doing this plant medicine is they are going to empower and open up and activate all your psychic powers again. Because there's a lot of spirit guides in the ayahuasca realm. I met a lot of them. They're like my teachers and they are able to like activate my powers again. And at that point, I was really full on power during these sessions. I felt like myself that I was a portal. I was a vertex at some point. So I was like, oh, I felt my entire body was shaking and I was sweating a lot. And I felt like a rush of energy throughout my entire body. So I knew that some kind of activation was happening within my body. And I also felt that my chakras were getting aligned and I was puking a lot at the time. I was purging a lot because ayahuasca makes you want to purge, right? So I was purging a lot. So yeah, I would say that my powers got reactivated again during the 3 years journey that I had with the plant medicine.
How did you manage these new superpowers?
It sounds maybe a little bit weird, but I felt like it was homecoming to me. I felt like I was feeling myself again. Like without these senses, I feel like really human and really 3D. And with these senses, I've really felt like, yeah, I am a goddamn multidimensional being.
Love that.
I started to believe myself more, and my dreams became even more like transcendental to me. Like, X-Men, the mutants, all these superpowers, especially this power of Jean Grey, right? I have them like in my dream world. I can open portals, I can switch from one dimension to another dimension. All that stuff that you see in X-Men and all these powers, I have them in my dreams. So I really know that I do have these powers within myself. But due to the 3-day world, it's too dense to use these powers, right? You cannot really develop them as much as you would like to.
That sounds really fun. It actually reminds me of this past life reading that I had done with my friend Annette, who's been on the show. I was actually, I think, in my first human life. So I had telekinesis before I became a human. That was passed down to me in my first human life, like in Portugal. But my human body couldn't handle it because I had too many energy surges throughout my body. And I ended up checking myself into like a loony bin because I didn't realize I could manage it by moving locations. It's nice that you're able to still have that power, but in your 5D because it can be really fun. I just don't think as humans we can handle it physically.
I think the human body now is so super limited, and for a reason, of course. And of course, you can always develop clairsentient, clairaudience, and all that stuff. I think if you practice like a lot of tarot readings or connecting, channeling the collective, it really empowers your gifts of that too. Of course, well, you're not able to open portals and go into a portal. You can in 5D, but still, it's still fun to be able to develop the 3D powers, nevertheless, in this realm. Absolutely.
And it's fun to apply that to your 3D life. For me, I'm claircognizant, so sometimes I just know things or I know how things will turn out. And I've been practicing it, so I'm kind of like in the phase 1 of it. When I predict something and it happens, I get like super excited.
I think this is one of my most favorite powers to have actually, because knowing something is really like connected to the priestess energy, right? The Oracle of Delphi. You had like this oracle
Mhm.
in ancient Kemet, Egypt. So it's a really defined power. And I use this power in my dreams a lot. I dream about a place, and the next thing I know, I am at that place while traveling. So that's really a superpower that I really, really like.
It's really pleasant to be able to use it in a positive way instead of fear it. I think once you start fearing it, then you start attracting that kind of same vibration, and then those kind of powers can get a bit overwhelming.
Yeah, absolutely. During one of my ayahuasca journeys, I was actually told that I could manipulate timelines and stuff like that. And I was told in my ayahuasca by my spirit, like, you're not supposed to use that power in 3D realm. You're not supposed to be messing up timelines. So that was something for me to remember. Like, if I really have like developed that ability in 3D, I'm still not able to use it because if you try to mess up certain timelines, it's gonna mess up like a lot of things around you, not only for yourself, but also for your family and friends and for the whole collective. So some superpowers are for that reason dormant or you're not able to develop them in 3D life because it has like great consequences.
Yeah, that can have a really bad domino effect on everything around you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about astrology. What exactly is asteroid karma in astrology?
Astral karma is actually a general asteroid that points out what your good or bad karma is from your most recent past life. So it's a very general, yeah, asteroid that can tell you more about your karma that you've inherited. This is also your personal karma, and depending on the aspects it's making, it can be either positive or negative. So astrology, we have positive aspect like a conjunction, a trine, or a sextile. And you have like negative aspect, which is a square and an opposition. So if you want to look at that, you can just go to astro.com and you go to extended chart selection. And then like below, you have like the option to select the asteroid karma. And then you can check what aspect it's making to your personal planets. If it's making like negative aspects like oppositions and square, it means that you have inherited negative karma and you should like balance the karma out by transmuting it. The karma sign in which house it is and then which sign can tell you more about the lessons that you need to balance out and to learn in this lifetime. If you have like good karma, making good aspect, like trines, conjunctions, and sextiles to your personal planet, it means like you really have good karma from your past life and you're able to continue that path to towards like reaping more beneficial karma for you.
Are there particular asteroids that are commonly associated with the themes of karma or past life experiences in astrological practice?
Yeah, that's a great question. There are actually planets in your natal chart that can point out what kind of karma you're dealing with. And the most common one is Saturn. Saturn is a planet of karma. Also in Vedic astrology, I see Saturn as a benefic planet. And in Vedic astrology, it's actually seen as a maleficent planet. But hear me out about this. Saturn is actually a very rewarding planet. It's a planet of protection too, because if you look at the planet Saturn, and you see the rings around them, right? The rings. It's the rings of protection. So Saturn is really known as a planet that protects you from anything that's trying to harm you. So Saturn is also a planet of reward. When you have your Saturn return, it's the age between 28 and 30 years, right? You have your Saturn return, and that is like a 2-year phase where you're dealing with a shit ton of experiences that's gonna mature you in life, right? You may be like building a business, you may be buying a house, you may be like experiencing death. because Saturn is associated with death originally in Hellenistic astrology, and it's related to Pluto too. So karma is connected with Saturn, and Saturn is really gonna show you what karma you have in your life by its natal chart is showing up as a square or an opposition to your personal planet. And depending on what house it's in, what house and sign it is in, it's going to tell you the lessons that you need to embody and learn in this lifetime. And speaking of Saturn, Saturn is in Pisces this year, right? It's went to Pisces in March. And I think this is a really benevolent energy to deal with because Saturn will be in Pisces for 3 years' time. What it means is that you are able to use this window time to balance your karma at God's speed. Because Pisces is the last zodiac of the sign, right? It's the last zodiac and it deals with endings, it deals with ending of contracts. And basically, it's like an ending of a cycle. So it's like a temporary portal of 3 years. You can clear out your karma. And I think it's a really good time window to an opportunity to use these 3 years to really cleanse out your karmic debts that you have with your with other people. It could be so simple as a family problem. For example, you have a cousin and you don't talk to that cousin anymore because something happened, right? Something happened in the family. You're both upset and you do not talk to each other for a very long time. So what you're going to do is you want to reach out to that person, to your cousin, and then you're going to reach out and try to initiate mending, right? Mending the relationship. You can try to do that because Saturn is all not about the ego. It's about your cosmic higher self, right? You're going to initiate that contact, meaning that you are not acting from a point of ego, you're acting from a point of love, right? A point of love. So you're gonna initiate contact with the person. And if the person is not wanting to talk to you for whatever reason, then it's still okay. Saturn will say, okay, you know what? I see that you really try to put effort in mending the relationship with that other person, despite the other person is not really wanting to talk to you. So you extended your olive branch, right? You already did the work. So you balanced out your karma from a Saturnian perspective.
So this information is very helpful and relevant in my life right now.
Yeah, I'm glad that information is going to help you in your personal life because I think Saturn is a really underrated planet and not a lot of people talk about Saturn or the Saturn Pisces transit this year. So it's really important for me to share this with everyone.
And I'm just thinking back to my own Saturn return and how it really ignited my path. You can see the connection of what had to die in terms of what I was doing in my life or relationships in order to do what I'm doing now. It's really nice to be able to connect the dots.
I think that's beautiful how you're able to connect these dots. On the other note, we currently have like a transit, a nodal return, right? I call it nodal return because I have Libra in the South Node, but the collective is dealing also with South Node in Libra. And what it means is South Node is about your past life, right? Your past life and the things that happened in the past. Libra is about karma as well. It's about justice. It's about the system that's ruled by the law, right? It's about karma and karmic law. So the South Node being Libra means that we are going to deal with some heavy karmic relationships. You're going to deal with heavy karmic contracts and vows and ties that you have in the past with people. And what I think is profound to have Saturn Pisces with the South Node and Libra is that you are able to break old contracts. I've been saying that on my Instagram a lot. Like, now it's the time to break old contracts and break all old vows that you made pertaining to relationships, pertaining to business partnerships and friendships also, because seventh house is ruled by Libra. It's a Venusian house. It rules relationships, love, marriages, business partnerships, and stuff like that. So really now is a really good time to look at what is draining you, what kind of relationships are draining you, or you can even look at why am I attracting the same old relationships into your life. That could be because in a past life you maybe perhaps made a vow about relationships. Maybe you had like a vow like, okay, in this lifetime I'm gonna have a promise to not engage in any relationship at all. Maybe you were hurt by someone in a past life. So you have this strong intention to never date anyone again, to never love anyone again. And that has a huge impact on your current lives because that vow that you made is impacting you not able to find love or even to feel love, to love someone or even to love yourself. So I keep saying to people, now's the time to really break those vows that you did in your past life, these contracts that are no longer serving you. So really do your shadow work and dig what's going on in your past life pertaining to these relationships and stuff like that.
Oh, it's again so relevant to me personally right now. I just love seeing how these episodes come together and how the universe channels these messages that are relevant to my personal life as well as the collective.
I think it's amazing to hear you talk about it, how everything actually fits into like a big puzzle for you and you're able to connect all the dots. And yeah, when the South Node is in Libra, it means that the whole collective is dealing with the same themes in life. So a lot of people will be breaking up eventually from their relationship if it's not meant to be, or even people are starting new relationships because they're able to do the shadow work, the inner work, they're healing, and now they're able to start a new leaf, right? A new possible beginning. And we are having this new moon in Libra soon. It's a solar eclipse. And it's a great way to start new contracts, new beginnings. So that's a really excellent day to manifest new things in your life, new contracts, new vows, new promises.
Awesome. I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
And I feel called to actually pull another card.
Okay, I'm very curious what kind of card that you are able to pull.
And I'm using the Power of Surrender cards, which I actually found in Amsterdam when I was there for a moon ceremony. So let's see what they have for us. Oh, I love this. Okay, this is great. Surrender to prayer. And the other is surrender to miracles. Connect with your ancestors and manifestation.
I love how it turned out. This is so on point. Spirit is so super on point. Spirit's coming
I
true.
love the cards.
I love your deck too. I think I'm getting a channel message too from the ancestors. Whoever is listening to the podcast, your ancestors are calling you to reach out to them. So don't be afraid. Have faith in yourself, have faith in your powers, and initiate the first contact. Don't be afraid. That's the message that I get. I'm getting like the collective might be afraid to connect something that they are really like maybe not that drawn to. But the ancestors are like, yeah, you need to contact me so I can guide you more in your evolution as a human being and as a spiritual being too. So that was really a wonderful moment to connect with your cards and with this channel messages too.
Absolutely. And another thing to remember is that nothing can hurt you. So step over that fear and remember that your guides are always here to protect you. So you can connect to all your guides and ancestors.
Yeah, very well said. 100% true.
Thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed our conversation and all the information that you've provided. And I know it's going to be very, very helpful for everyone listening. And could you share your socials on how people can connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. It was a great honor to me to be able to be on this podcast, and I enjoyed my time over here. I actually have Instagram, which is instagram.com/the Botanical Alchemist. Alchemist is actually spelled as Alpha, Lingo, Kilo, Hotel, Echo, Mike, Sierra, Tango. It's alchemist in a old-fashioned way. It's like with chem because it's derived from Kemet, which is ancient Egypt, and I have my ancestors there, so I dedicate the name alchemist to them. And it's also alchemists represent who I am as an essence. I'm a transformative person. I transmute energies into my own body with the experience that I have. So I'm constantly going to death and rebirth processes all the time. And that's why I call myself the Botanical Alchemist. So that is where people can find me. And that's the only social that I'm using right now.
DJing has provided me with a channel for creativity as well as another form of meditation. Stay tuned for one of my cosmically curated DJ sets coming up shortly. Great, we definitely have to connect again and talk about transmuting.
Yeah, sure thing. Because we just talked about that you are Scorpio and that I have Scorpio energy. So I'm definitely down to talk more about transformation and stuff like that. Yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, thanks again, and we will connect very soon.
Thank you so much. Have a great, amazing day ahead.
You too. Bye. Thank you for being a part of our community. Be sure to connect with me by hitting subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. I greatly appreciate your support and would be thrilled if you could leave a review. Your reviews help this podcast reach a wider audience and foster stronger collective connection. You can also connect with me on Instagram and YouTube at The Cosmic Whispers Podcast. Thanks for listening. If you like what you hear and would like to check out the full set, be sure to find me, Cosmic Mama, on SoundCloud. That's soundcloud.com/cosmicmama.